Coming up today on Eagle Eyes on Tech, the new Nintendo Switch sequel may already be 7 years behind. Pornhub is now banned in most of the South. Honey is facing a class action lawsuit led by YouTubers. We have an early look at all things CES, or at least a few things CES, and Half-Life 3 is confirmed? Yes. Somehow, all that and more come up today on Eagle Eyes on Tech. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or it's 2 a.m. Go to bury this Eagle Eyes on Tech. I am Eagle Falcon. Yep, it's a new year. We're back at it. We're back at it yet again. We got a lot to talk about today. It is the week before CES. And somehow we actually do have quite a bit to talk about, mostly because we didn't talk about anything last week and everyone is catching up. First things first to talk about is the fact that the U.S. National Treasury has confirmed that there have been Chinese-backed hackers that have hacked into workstations within U.S. Treasury. There is no word as of yet as to what has been accessed, if anything, but intrusion has happened. All right, raise your hand. Are you surprised? I'm not gonna lie, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised in the least. The amount of times I hear about this little thing hacked, that little thing hacked. The real question is though, all right, there was a breach. Systems were gotten into. Was anything accessed? Or did they just make their way into the documents folder and found out nothing was stored in the documents folder? Because it's just saying they got access to workstations. Did they get access to the credentials to let them access the servers where data is actually stored? That is the important question. And right now things are kind of ongoing. This occurred last Monday. So really right now we don't know. We just simply don't. More information will be coming out about this as the investigation continues. But for now, it is a thing that has happened and something we should be a little concerned with. But only a little. I wouldn't worry too much about it, but we'll have to wait and see how it goes. Meanwhile, though, other information has leaked out, that being a look at the primary system board of the Nintendo Switch sequel that everyone is insisting is in fact going to be called the Nintendo Switch 2, and I cannot wait for everyone to find out that that is wrong, because there has been no actual solid proof of the. This is the part that actually does blow me away. All right. It is the fact that there is no proof that it's called the Switch 2. We're just taking some schmuck's word for it, but everyone is treating it like gospel. I can't get over that. It is mind blowing that after the entire fiasco with the Nintendo Switch Pro, nobody is standing up and going, you know, maybe, just maybe we should believe something or treat something as confirmed only when there's actual freaking evidence to support it other than trust me, bro. Like at least in the case of this leak, we have some actual pictures and some good evidence to support this. We have a picture of the main board, several different angles. In addition, we have the actual serial number and part number of the NVIDIA SoC of the Nintendo Switch Pro. I'm sorry, the Nintendo Switch successor. Here's the problem. The SoC being pictured is 8 nanometers and was designed all the way back in 2018. That means the chip that the new Nintendo Switch is going to be based on is already 7 years old. That's pretty bloody old. With that said, though, I should point out that there is nothing wrong with a computer being old. The computers I use to power this stream and do all my gaming on are about 7, 8, 9 years old. Someone in chat says Samsung, but the picture is NVIDIA. NVIDIA doesn't manufacture their own chips. They they contract out their chips to be manufactured by Samsung or TSMC. This one is known to be manufactured by Samsung's 8 nanometer lithography. So it's designed by NVIDIA. Samsung makes it. So let's actually just get one thing out of the way. In case you don't know, NVIDIA does not make their own chips. AMD does not make their own chips. Apple does not make their own chips. They subcontract out to a lot of various foundries, the majority of which are TSMC. But there actually was a pretty long period where NVIDIA did, in fact, put their stuff out to Samsung. Someone in chat says, I thought they only did TSMC, that they dropped Samsung. You're getting warmer to the concern. So they dropped Samsung to manufacture their mainstream GPUs. They went back to TSMC after Samsung failed them when they tried to manufacture the 3000 series. But you're starting to see the problem, right? They pulled away from Samsung a while back, but these chips are on Samsung's lithography. This is old stuff. Most likely, it's still going to be manufactured by Samsung. It's just going to be manufactured at a discount. The point still stands, though. This is not modern tech. And there's going to be a lot of people that look at a console like this, because a computer, I can get away with operating on older computers, but I can always upgrade things like the GPU. I can always upgrade the CPU. I can upgrade the motherboard. I can upgrade every component in the PC. I could do that tomorrow if I wanted. I can do that the next day. When you design a new console, you are basically locked into that architecture and that SoC for the entire life of the console. So when a console lasts, 5 years and already using 7-year-old tech, that means this technology is going to be 13 years old as people start to wonder what's next. That's wild. It kind of raises the question, how do they expect to keep up? Now, Nintendo, it's not like Nintendo goes ahead and thrives on like the highest frame rates or the highest fidelity or the highest graphical quality. They don't. They thrive mostly on a locked ecosystem and unique and interesting content. That is what they thrive on. But to see this thing already have a 7-year-old SoC, it's kind of disappointing. With that being said, there is a chance that this is not it. This could be a sample board from a while ago. This could very well not, in fact, be the Switch successor board. It matches other leaks that claim to be the Switch successor board, but I want to remind you about how absolutely positive everyone was with the Nintendo Switch Pro, how they swore up and down, and I even ran with the information about the Switch Pro because I thought, how could so many people be wrong? And lo and behold, everyone, including myself, because I got swept up in the news reporting of everyone else, were wrong. That is going to be the caveat I throw on pretty much every single Nintendo Switch leak until the Switch successor is announced. With that said, there is more evidence backing this up as being correct than there is saying it's going to be the Switch 2 because trust me, bro. Just saying. I think every single outlet just openly calling it the Switch 2 is stupid. Aren't you excited to find out that, in fact, the Switch 2... And people are already saying that, like, this SoC is going to have both mediocre performance and bad battery life. I don't know about the bad battery life. The chip seems really tiny. I don't know what they're going to compare the bad battery life to, because it's not like we have a very good battery life handheld right now. Like, no, seriously. Like, compared to what we used to have back in the 3DS era, like, the battery life of everything is just terrible, because we're actually having real horsepower in it. The Switch is about 4 hours, where the 3DS used to be about 16. The Steam Deck is anywhere from 2 to 8, depending on what you're playing. Your phone is probably the best handheld battery life component at being at about, 16 to 18 hours, depending on your phone and what you're doing. Someone in chat says at least it means we can emulate on the Steam Deck again. Can you imagine how much of a fit Nintendo's gonna throw if people quickly come up with a Switch successor emulator within the first month of this thing being on the market. Oh man, that is an anger that can warm the frozen winter side of Japan. Ooh, that would be incredible. Switching gears radically, here's a question for you. For all you iPhone users who 100% for reals believe in the fact that your iPhone is 100% secure, here's my question for you. Is your iPhone sharing your photos data with Apple by default? Like, let's be real for a second, okay? Anyone who is remotely tech savvy has pretty much just come to the conclusion that every single tech platform is spying on you in any way, shape, or form it can, and the only way to get true privacy is to just go over to Linux and take control manually, okay? However, the majority of people are not tech savvy. The majority of people are not willing to go and turn to the Penguin. They instead just hear the marketing of Apple security focused and privacy focused, I go Apple. But by default, if you go ahead and use enhanced visual search in iOS 18, it is automatically sharing your photo data with Apple. Now, it says this is solely to enhance visual search, and it is not saving any pictures because that would be a breach of privacy. Quick, raise your hand if you have doubts. Put your hand down. You know I can't see you. You should know better. You know better. The point is, everyone should have raised their hands up. Of course, they're going to save the actual pictures. And here's the thing. There's eventually going to be some kind of data breach. You know it. I know it. And everyone's photos that went out to go ahead and be used by this is going to get out. I don't think that's a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And I really, really do wish that, in fact, that was not the case. I wish we could live in a world where, you know, data gets used by a machine, it is never stored, and no human eyes can ever see the hilariously embarrassing thing I did in my photos or whatever, because it's private stuff. We know it's not the case. We know it's not true. So, of course, what does that lead to? Well, eventually, let's just look at something else that happened with Apple. Eventually, here's what that's going to lead to. It's going to lead to a $95 million settlement in regards to a lawsuit accusing Siri of Snoopy eavesdropping. Because Siri would never go ahead and listen unless it was told to. It would never do that, right? The next time you ever hear of Apple telling you that your privacy is paramount, that there is no way your information or your data is going to get into the wrong hands ever, I want you to remember this. This happens. This still happens. Someone in chat says you should laugh them out of the room. I feel like you need to go ahead and at least show them this article, then laugh at them and not stop until they leave the room. But you know, it is what it is. Speaking of it is what it is, Pornhub is now almost completely blocked in the southern United States. So legislatively here in the US, there has been a lot of pressure to add laws that prevent pornographic sites from showing their content unless they can confirm that the viewers are over the age of 18. Whoops. And of course, the way that most of these laws have been written, the way to verify this is by storing a copy of state issue IDs on file for each user, which, by the way, is a huge, underlying huge security risk. Remember I kept saying earlier today that, you know, this breach happened, I'm shocked but not surprised. Oh, hey, look, Apple went ahead and is storing all this. Why wouldn't I be surprised if that breach when that breach actually happens? Someone else in chat already said that, in fact, oh, hey, look, I wouldn't be surprised that breach has already happened and we just don't even know about it yet. This is what Pornhub wants to prevent. They don't want a breach of everyone's state IDs. So they're just straight up blocking access to users in these states so they're compliant with the law. Now, of course, the easy way around this is just get a VPN. that's a no-brainer. Just get a VPN in GG easy mode. It's done. You don't have to worry about anything. My question is, what did this accomplish? Other than just make it so that major pornography sites are no longer functional, so that now idiots who don't know how to use a VPN, when they look at their jolly off, go to something super sketchy that doesn't care and just makes things worse. What did this actually accomplish? And I'm not going for what someone in the chat said, which is it makes the politicians look like they actually accomplished something. No, I don't care about that. I could honestly care less about the political side of things, because a lot of this is in fact just political. But at some point you got to look at it beyond the politics of it. How does it actually affect the average person? And I would argue, even though it seems weird for a guy like me to go ahead and defend pornography, this doesn't help anyone. It really, really doesn't. It just now makes it so that those who actually want to go ahead and view this kind of content have to go and get access to the strange stuff, the wonky stuffs, the sites that are super sketch. That's my primary concern. Is that in the end, this probably helps no one. Chad is now asking me, how do I know? Because I have a working brain and I can think about things. It's not always about just going like, you talk about pornography. Sometimes it is exactly as it sounds. By the by, remember how the current administration is trying to reinstate net neutrality? And I said that there'd be a problem because realistically, the primary way they want to implement net neutrality would have to be done as a law. Lo and behold, U.S. Appeals Court has blocked the current FTC's attempt to restore net neutrality rules because the rules they tried to point out were too far-reaching and infringe on the separation of powers. Surprise. So we go from net neutrality suddenly being an issue to net neutrality being a thing, but the rules that put into place were absolutely terrible and didn't accomplish anything, to everyone saying the world is over because the rules that didn't do anything were repealed. Now rules are trying to be put into place that do actually have teeth, and they're being blocked because they have too many teeth. That is the order of operations we have gone here in the United States for net neutrality. Isn't that great? You know what the worst part is? I just went over the order and how, like, basically a whole bunch of nothing happened. And I guarantee you there's going to be people on Twitter that are going to say that this blocking is the worst thing that ever happened to the internet, even though all it means is that nothing changes. I'd say you have to get Congress on it now because there's no freaking way. Oh, well. I'm not going to lose too much sleep over it, to be perfectly honest. I know that's going to sound horrible and terrible for me to say. Oh, man. You don't care about net neutrality? You don't care about all traffic on the internet being treated equally? That's how the internet has run for the last 30 years. On paper, it sounds great, but in practice, it has not led to a whole lot of difference. There's been a little bit of difference. There has been a little bit that would have been beneficial from net neutrality, but in reality, it's not like anyone's lives were majorly affected by it. I'm not going to lose a whole lot of sleep over it. It'd be nice, but, you know, it is what it is. I'm far more interested by the California judge who has gone ahead and said that, yes, you can have a ban in California on addictive feeds. What? Yeah, so this is in reference to social media feeds that are considered addictive. Basically, trying to say that California is allowed to put a ban on social media platforms that intentionally use algorithms to make your social media feed as addicting as possible. Now, I'm sure we have never, ever encountered that ever in the history of ever. No one has ever gone ahead and gone to their YouTube Shorts feed and just scrolled through it for an hour and then wondered what happened to their day. I'm sure that has never happened to anyone. No one has ever gone to the artist formerly known as Twitter and just doom scrolled for hours. I'm sure no one has ever done that. I'm sure there is no one in the world who has looked at TikTok. That's never happened. Well, apparently California is now banning that, which here is going to be my point. Okay. How in the heck are you going to ban that? Like, seriously, how are you going to enforce this addictive feeds ban? Are you just going to say that Facebook's addictive, ban the whole site unless you change your things? Do you have any idea how many lawsuits this is going to lead to? This is going to be absolutely bat squeak insane. Someone in chat said they banned Pornhub. So here's the wild thing. They didn't ban Pornhub. Pornhub banned themselves. Like, that's the wild thing. They banned Pornhub by trying to go ahead and force Pornhub to go ahead and do something really, really stupid. And they're just like, nah, fam. I don't want to be a security vulnerability. And then said deuces. That also being said, in the state of California, Pornhub is still allowed. I mean, I'm just telling you. Yeah, someone in chat said, just imagine TikTok is banned, but Pornhub is okay. That's what we're looking at. I mean, granted, we're also still looking at the case of TikTok being banned nationwide still here in the United States. Like, that is still right now on track to go through. We'll know more next week as to what happened. By the way, when it comes to the TikTok ban, if news comes out, I will go ahead and I will try. I can promise I'll try, because work is kind of crazy right now, to put out a breaking news episode the moment I find out that a verdict has been reached in the Supreme Court case for whether the ban can go forward for TikTok or not. Like, the instant that decision comes out, I'll go ahead and put out an episode about it. So don't worry in that regard. But yeah, like, Pornhub's kind of weird. Like, they don't really care about getting the most eyeballs. They just care about getting the most revenue. Social media, because they go ahead and make their money by selling other people's information, they want the most amount of eyeballs on them. I don't think California will successfully make social media platforms ban themselves. I think they are more likely to go ahead and sue, especially in California, because California is the highest population state, easily, to go ahead and keep those eyeballs. That's how I think that's going to go down. But you know, all to do is wait and see. But speaking of addictive feeds, how's this for a new feature coming from YouTube? A new feature from YouTube for Android. It's just called Play Something. You're really bored on YouTube and you're not sure what to watch? Just hit a button that says Play Something and it'll just play a video at random. It is a FAB, or floating action button, and it just plays a random video at random. I hate the future. I like, granted, this is something that would definitely inevitably help a lot of small YouTubers, but holy smokes, you want to talk about like the world's dumbest, weirdest feature to come to the platform? Play something. What do you want to play? Just something. This is how you end up getting, like, for your Play Something, one of those random, wild, like, 10-hour long loops of silence that is occasionally interrupted by a fart. You know those really, you know those YouTube videos that are on the weird side? You know the ones. Now, someone in chat says it'll probably take in the user's view history into account. I hope so. I really do hope it uses YouTube's pretty decent viewing algorithm to go ahead and play something that's actually, like, relatively interesting. But I don't know. Maybe it's just like recent technology just has me so jaded, I just assume the worst case scenario. But now here's the real question. If the button just stays there and you can just keep tapping it and just keep channel surfing through random videos until you get one that you like, is that now an addictive feed? It's a good question, is it not? I really do want to see what California decides is an addictive feed, because, man, I am going to laugh my butt off if Silicon Valley and the rest of California just can't access 2/3 of the wide of just like most of the internet. That would be absolutely wild. We're going to take our first break here. When we come back, Honey is being sued. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Now we're going to have to work on that volume. Welcome back, Eagle Eyes on Tech. I'm Eagle Falcon. All right, so we talked about the past couple of weeks about the video that was put up by Megalag involving the browser extension known as Honey. For those of you who don't know, Honey is a web browser extension that is supposed to scour the internet for coupon codes and then put them in. And how Honey made its money before was just kind of assumed that it was tracking, browser habits and marketing data and selling that to companies. That's what was pretty much assumed for the longest time was Honey's business model. It turns out Honey's business model was whenever you make a purchase using Honey as the last method of Honey, just using Honey at all, because it was always at the end, it would just take affiliate sales credits for the sale, whether you actually used an affiliate link or not. So if you went ahead and heard from, pick an outlet, Gamers Nexus, Linus Tech Tips, whomever. I mean, even here we used affiliate links for a while, but then Twitch got rid of that extension for some reason to go ahead and view a product because you're like, oh man, I heard that one streamer really loved using that one microphone. I should get that so that my business calls sound good. And you go ahead and try to order that. If you used Honey, instead of the person getting credit for the sale, Honey steals that credit. There's also a lot of stuff going on in the background, in addition to just applying a affiliate code for themselves, whether they earned it or not. But then also, on top of that, there was also some stuff going on in the background where they would basically have companies pay an extortion fee so that they wouldn't show the best coupon codes for that particular company. Now, of course, it wasn't marketed as an extortion fee. It was more marketed as a membership fee so that you could control what coupon codes are visible through Honey and what isn't. That sounds like extortion. That's just my opinion. It may not be legally, but, it's just what it sounds like. Well, YouTuber Legal Eagle, who I have mixed opinions about, has went ahead and filed a class action lawsuit along with several other law firms against Honey to go ahead and make sure that creators are getting paid. Because what ended up happening for the creators is that these creators go ahead, they promote Honey only for Honey to go behind their backs and just casually just steal their frickin' affiliate credit. The end. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that great? And so, you got paid, a few $1,000 by Honey. And if you were big enough, they stole tens of thousands from you without you knowing. Now, keep in mind, we don't know how long this has been going. And I'm actually very curious to know if this was going on since before PayPal bought Honey or if it only started after PayPal bought Honey. I am a little curious in that regard. This is going to be a class action lawsuit. I am incredibly interested to see how it plays out and also who all signs up for the class action suit. I don't actually expect anyone but the lawyers to make a whole lot of money out of this. I'm willing to bet this is going to end up just being settled outside of court. We'll have to see. I really do hope that this doesn't just get settled out of court. I hope this does go to court, because Honey's not the only company that does this. There are lots of Honey competitors. Investigations are already ongoing for those, one of which, I already forgot the name of it, has already been found to also be doing the exact same affiliate code stealing that Honey is doing. And I for one am just blown away. It took this long for a serious statement to be made about this. Apparently there have been things said about it before, but it was just like, oh yeah, this is going on, whatever. Oh, this kind of sucks, whatever. No, we're just not going to do that anymore, whatever. No, yeah, PayPal's doing a whole bunch of affiliate info, whatever. All right. Okay. I do want to address that, though. Someone in chat said Markiplier called it back in 2020. What Markiplier called is that there's something weird with honey, but he wasn't able to pin down what. So you want to be technical? No, Markiplier didn't call it back in 2020. Markiplier just had a functional brain, unlike a lot of people. I mean, I'll admit it, Markiplier saw more wrong with it than I did. I just assumed, oh yeah, they're probably just mining traffic data. What? Yeah, whatever. I didn't think anything much about honey beyond that. That's just like, oh yeah, they're probably just making their money by selling marketing data. It made the most sense. Yeah, that checks out. Yeah, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product, etc., etc. Yeah, I kind of figured I was. Didn't realize it was this bad. Whew. Spicy, spicy stuff. Meanwhile, though, OpenAI says we need more money. We need far more than they imagined, and in fact, lo and behold, they're going 100% for profit. 100% for profit. Not having a little, not being 50-50 for profit, non-profit, not a subsidiary that is non-profit, none of that. They are going all 100% for profit. Just in case you wanted more reason to not trust OpenAI, there you go. There's a little more reason for you to just, not trust OpenAI. Someone in chat just puts open in quotes. That does raise a question. If they end up going like really closed source, for profit, maximum profit kind of company, and everything they do is held super close to the chest, do they need to change their name legally to closed AI? Like, is that a clause in all this? That you can't use the word open if you're no longer open source? A stupid question, I know. But it is one to kind of think about as they move forward with all of this. So we'll just have to wait and see. Someone in chat says ChatGPT has not been open source for a while now. So it's already begun. It's already begun. I'm not going to lie. I have not kept an eye on how much of OpenAI has been open source. Like my mentality with AI, I have been very consistent. I don't care until most people get their hands on it, because every single demonstration and everything they do almost always ends up being like the best case scenario. And then when you actually get your hands on it, it's absolute dog duty by comparison. Let's shift gears though. Speaking of AI, let's instead talk about sorry, I got distracted by a sound there. I don't know if it went over the stream or not. Hard for me to tell. But let's talk for a minute about the thing powering AI. And that is, of course, the GeForce 5000 series. And by the GeForce 5000 series, I just mean NVIDIA cards in general. We have some leaks already in regards to the 5000 series. We're actually going to hear everything about the NVIDIA 5000 series on Monday. Monday evening is, in fact, when everything's going to be talked about. I fully expect the high-end, the 5090, to be a 4-digit card. And I put down on the prediction list like a $1,700 price tag. The more and more I think about it, the more and more I think I'm low. I have a feeling it's going to be a $2,000 card. And I want to be wrong. I really, really do. But here's what's gross. Someone in chat says $2,500 card. God, no. Please, no. What's really gross, though, is that early leaks of the cards show that while the bandwidth of memory is going up, the amount of VRAM on the cards is staying the same, except for the 5090. This is disgusting. Because I'm already rocking a RTX 4060 inside my streaming rig for the NVENC encoder. And the A1 control, or the A1 encoder, whatever the newer encoder is. I hit the VRAM cap on the regular in a lot of my workloads. There's planned obsolescence And then there's it's already obsolete. And that's where we're at right now. This stuff is already obsolete, except for the 5090 that's getting an upgrade to 36 gigabytes of VRAM. I hope the rumor is wrong. I really, really do. But here's the unfortunate truth. Would you be surprised if it turned out that NVIDIA just didn't care about VRAM and intentionally kept it low? And what does it say about NVIDIA? That there is a high chance their 5070 card is going to have less VRAM than the $250 Intel Battle Mage card. Let that thought sink in for a minute. NVIDIA is so cocky about their monopoly on the GPU market. They're going to intentionally bottleneck the VRAM in an environment where it is very easy to cap out the VRAM. And keep in mind, I'm capping out my VRAM without training AI, without doing anything really, really crazy. If you're trying to go ahead and run an AI model, you're hosed. Just straight up. I mean, I can hope I'm wrong, but when push comes to shove, NVIDIA is giving me no reason to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm just going to assume that NVIDIA hates me and my workload. And when I go ahead and look for a new GPU, they just assume I'm going to have to go ahead and get an NVIDIA one anyway, because when it comes to streaming, they have a contract, they have a freaking exclusivity deal with Twitch that if you want to go ahead and use a new feature with Twitch, it's got to be through this thing which only supports NVIDIA cards, and you're just be like, well, I guess I'm just host. Now, of course, NVIDIA has to look at this and go, you know, while we're pissing off the consumer base, we got to make sure we go for the real money. AI at some point is going to hit a brick wall, and crypto is not in any shape to be coming back to be GPU mined anytime soon. So what's next? The answer is simple. Robots. Yeah, you heard me. Robots. NVIDIA is planning on just going ahead and moving into robotics next. Of course they are. Why wouldn't they? Yeah, if you're hoping that NVIDIA is ever going to look at gamers and feel like they need them, no, they don't. That's just the unfortunate truth. In other news, there's rumors going about that the next AMD GPUs are not going to be the 8000 series. They are going to be the RX 9000 series and then be numbered just like NVIDIA cards. So we might see the RX 9070 XT instead of the RX 8800 XT, according to leaks from Tech Power Up and a few other sources as well. In fact, the original source of this leak came from Grostbill Pro, which is a thing that I don't know what it is. AMD, please stop. Just stop. This is stupid. Why is AMD's marketing team just have no creativity? Why do they have the creativity of a dead Xbox controller? It's so annoying. I'm annoyed. I am beyond annoyed. But you know what? It's gonna be what it is, I guess. I can't wait to tell people, no, don't buy the 9070, buy the 9070. Yay. In other news, we also have some monitors already starting to show their head through the CES pipeline. Samsung, Asus, and MSI have all somehow announced the world's first 27-inch 4K OLED 240 hertz display monitor. They are now playing rock, paper, scissors to find out who came up with it first and who actually came up with it without using a image that was using AI to generate it. Come on. Someone in chat said the one feature on LTT. I have no idea. I've lost track of all the things featured on LTT. We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, I want to cover a few more things announced at CES, as well as then some of the weirder stories. And when I say covered at CES, I mean teased ahead of CES. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. And that one is way too loud. Fantastic. I'm glad all the sound balancing we did before did nothing. Welcome back, Eagle Eyes on Tech. I'm Eagle Falcon. All right. We got a bit to go through. Let's quickly crank it all out and get this show closed up for the week. First things first. CES is starting soon, but we are already getting some things coming out. They're expected for it. For starters, this Frontier Micro LED VR headset that weighs almost absolutely nothing and is going to cost a lot more. I'm actually very curious to see how the VR space right now has just been like bleh. We've got a whole lot of stuff that no one's had a lot of interest in, and then like it's either the ultra cheap Quest stuff or like the crazy high end like Valve Index sort of products that give you full control. So I'm kind of curious, will this fall into any category in between or not? The lightweightness of it, I think, is going to be big. Because one of the big things that nobody wants to go ahead and wear a water bottle on their face and have their head just like dip down. Nobody wants that at all. LG has also revealed the first bendable, I hate this name, the world's first bendable 5K 2K gaming monitor, and is apparently already going to win 3 CES awards. Apparently we've already decided who the CES winners are, apparently, before the show even started. In case you thought the CES awards had any sort of like legitimacy at all, no, they do not. It's already out before the show floor even is open. And apparently he's already won innovation awards, including Best Innovation. Actually, that's it. Just 3 CS awards, including the prestigious Best of Innovation. We'll have to see more once people actually get their hands on it on the show floor. And then also LG went ahead and showed off a 27-inch display for a microwave. Yes, a microwave with a 27-inch display. That way you can microwave and be served ads while you microwave. Okay, they didn't specifically say you'd be served ads, but everyone's just assuming you'd be served ads. And I have no reason to disbelieve the thought of being served ads while you microwave. That sounds pretty on par, to be perfectly honest. In things that are not CES related, though, Meta is now saying that they will, in fact, issue support for bricked Meta Quest headsets. Because for a while, they were just saying, if you're out of warranty and there's a software problem that bricks it, that's not our problem, pay up. Just pay for a new one. GG, idiot. Turned out people didn't like that. I know, shocking concept. And in fact, now, Meta will, in fact, go ahead and take care of it. So they're going to go ahead and say they're going to go ahead and do out of warranty fixes for the Quest 2, 3, and 3S models that would fix the problem. What an insane, crazy, and novel concept. Huzzah. 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 Good job. Facebook is still moving forward, by the way, with their plan to add AI bots to their user base, because for whatever reason, Facebook first thought the idea of the metaverse was a good idea, despite the fact that the concept of a metaverse was all baked into a cyberpunk dystopia. But then they looked at dead internet theory and thought, ooh, what if we accelerate that? And then they're doing it. For those who don't know, dead internet theory is the theory that there are no real people on the internet, and that in fact everyone you're talking to is in fact a fake robot that is pretending to be a real person, and there's no real people on the internet. That is the dead internet theory. But for some reason, we feel compelled to accelerate the process of having dead internet theory. Good job. Good job, Zuck. You're doing something. Doing a good job making sure everyone is unhappy about this. All right, we got 2 more stories left. Let's quickly crank through this, as we are very quickly running out of time, because I ran out of time doing prep and getting home, but I digress. Half-Life 3 apparently has begun playtests. Yeah, you heard me. You heard me right. Half-Life 3 apparently is undergoing playtests. Why? When? How? What? So the rumors have been getting stronger and stronger about a Half-Life 3 actually being in the works within Valve. And in fact, according to a reputable leaker and data miner, Valve is conducting playtests for a project called HLX, which is believed to be Half-Life 3. In addition, the voice actor for the G-Man from Half-Life has put out a tweet, a very cryptic tweet in the style of the G-Man voice, out onto Twitter, which the last time he did that was, in fact, for the last Half-Life project. Will this one actually be Half-Life 3? I doubt it. I mean, I'll be honest. It has been so long since we heard about a Half-Life 3. I seriously doubt that whatever they're working on is Half-Life 3. It could be something in the Half-Life universe. It might be a Half-Life 2 Episode 3. It might be a Half-Life reboot. I don't know. Considering, though, the more and more talk that's been coming out of Valve regarding Half-Life and what has all happened for it, you know, time will tell what is going to go down. So I'll have to wait and see how that happens. And then finally, I bring you the last burb, the last story of the day, the weirdest story of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new thing that Doom runs on. I give you not the first, but the newest iteration of Doom running on a CAPTCHA check. To prove you're not a robot, you must play Doom and kill at least 3 monsters. A nightmare difficulty. I'm not even mad. I'm not even mad. Now, it's not the full game. As someone mentioned, it is not the full game. It is a little snippet. But here we are. Doom running on CAPTCHA. Folks, that is going to do it for this episode of Eagle Eyes on Tech. Thank you so much for listening. I know this was a short episode, but well, first off, we have arrangements that I need to get to very, very soon that people are waiting on. But also, it is the week before CES. Next week is CES. We're going to have a metric ton of stuff to talk about. Feel free to give a follow to this podcast. Check out my other works, twitch.tv/EagleFalcon, or on YouTube, youtube.com/EagleFalcon. Take care, and hopefully I'll see you then. Bye-bye. All right, here's my next question. All right. So we got Doom running on that CAPTCHA. When is Quake Deathmatch going to be our next CAPTCHA? Where 4 people go in, 3 are declared human, and 1 is declared the robot. Come on. Tell me that would not be amazing. It would be stupid. But man, it would be really, really funny. Almost as funny as all the insane nonsense that's going to come out of CES next week.